Hello everyone, welcome to the Alluring Bead Boutique. My name's Katrina, and on my last video I told you guys how I have signed up for that free trial on Craftsy. So one of the other classes that I've been checking out a little bit is this bead wrapped or wire wrapped crystal stones and clusters or something like that, and the instructor on there's name is Aga Crook, and she is from Poland. But anyways, this is something that was in that class on Craftsy that I tried out here, and I really liked the way that it came together. So the wire wrapped part that I'm going to show you guys today is how to make this component here with the two wire wrapped loops on each end. And I cut the wire wrapped loops off of these two because when I started the project, I started out with one color of wire here, which is this really dull looking kind of wire. I was just practicing around. It's 24 gauge. But then I switched over to this little bit better quality of wire here. And this is dead soft copper with silver plate on it. And this is a 26 gauge. And so I made all of the bracelet links using this wire. But I had made the two earring ones using the other wire. So now I'm going to redo these so that they match. I'm not going to show you this whole design because it is not my design. I'm just going to show you guys how to make this cute little component. So if you want to see here on the bracelet, what I did was I connected these little wire wrapped ringy things here with just some simple loop beaded links with these little turquoise pearls here. And then I made this last one, I only put one wire wrapped loop, and what I did is I'm using the final ring as a clasp for this, or a ring for this lobster claw to go through. And then I just made some wire wrapped little beads dangles here and hung off of those. Just like that. And I love it. I think it's really pretty. And it's a good way to make something really cool and pretty and not have to use a lot of beads. So anyhow, let's go ahead, and what you're going to need in order to make these are, you can use any kind of gauge wire you want to. You really want to use something small like a 24 or a 26. You could probably even do 28 gauge. Doesn't really matter. You would just want to maybe do more rounds of the wire to make sure that they're all the same thickness, as you can see here. You're going to need flush cutters. You're going to need something to shape these on. And I'm just using this dowel stick here that I've had for a long time. And what you do is you measure this flat end, and it is a 1/2 inch dowel. And I use that for all the rest of them, so I know I'll be fine there. And then you're going to need round nose pliers and chain nose pliers. So I'm going to use these smaller ones that I got recently at Michael's, because I like this little fine tip. And I found, I started playing around with these new pliers on this project, and they work super good for tucking in those little sharp points when you cut your wire. And I'm so glad that I went and got this pair. And then my round nose pliers are simply these cute little bead smith pliers that I got off of Amazon. And you can see that I have my pliers marked with a Sharpie all the way around the barrels there for the size loops that I want to make. So let me tell you about these little items here. I made my wire wrapped little dangles here with these beautiful marbled turquoise beads, and all I used were some generic hypoallergenic stainless steel head pins to make those and to make these ear wires. And then to coordinate things like with these beaded links here, I added this little tiny 4mm turquoise pearls right onto my ear wire before I shaped this part. I made my little loops here, and then I ran my pearls on, and then I used one of my, my techniques that I showed you guys in my previous video for making perfectly matching ear wires, and I went ahead and made these ear wires, and then I just filed the little ends so they're not sharp. And so I'm going to lay all of that aside, and I'm going to tell you right now that you're going to need, I'm going to make 2 of these. I'm going to show you how to make 2. So I've got 2 lengths of my 26 gauge wire in equal lengths cut here. And before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and straighten these a little bit using some nylon pliers. And these are just chain nose nylon jaw pliers. And they're great for wire straightening. And I will straighten up those wires, and I will come back and we'll get started. Now, to get started, you're going to want to make sure that you have a flush cut end on both ends of your wire using the flush back side of your flush cutters. Your wire doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but it just helps if it's straightened up, and you certainly don't want any kinks. Alright, so to start, I'm going to grab my dowel, and I'm going to leave myself quite a little piece of wire hanging off up here for a tail. And then I'm left-handed, so I'm going to hold it down with my thumb of my right hand. Then I'm just going to take my wire, and I'm going to start wrapping around this dowel. And I'm going to make sure that my wraps stick close together. Use pressure from your thumb to help you through this, because you want your wraps to be close together, and you don't want to let go of your wire, or you're going to have a problem with everything springing out. So just keep wrapping and wrapping, and scoot your little coils together as best you can, and keep going until you have, I really did not count mine. I probably should have. You don't want your coils to lay over top of each other, so watch for that. What I did was I just wrapped till I had about 4 inches left on the end of my wire, which is where I'm at right now. So I'm going to scooch everything together like this. And then all I'm going to do is take it off of the spool. And I'm going to stick my finger through it like this. And I want one of my wires, and I pulled too tight there. So see what I did? I pulled too tight, and I pulled that one out of shape. So now I'm going to have to take a minute, and I'm going to have to fix that, because I want it to be the same size as my other coils. And that's pretty good. I've got it pretty decent. It doesn't have to be perfect, because I like this little way that these shapes look. It's not a perfection thing, okay? So then you're just going to take your finger and squeeze. And hold on to your coils just like this. And so I'm left-handed, right? So I'm going to start with this. I've maneuvered around till I'm starting with this shortest wire. So here I am, and my wire is coming out to the back side farthest away from me. So I'm going to take my wire, and I'm just going to poke it through this hole, through the center, and I'm going to pull nice and tight and get my first little coil right here at the top. And I'm going to do that 2 more times. And I'm going to take my fingers and push those coils together until they're right up beside each other. And there's my third one. And I'm going to pull that pretty tight like that. So now I'm going to, that side's secure. So now I'm going to take my finger, and I'm just going to bring this wire on my longer side, just shaping it around my finger like that, till I'm down here on the opposite side. And this is the way that it worked best for me. It's not exactly how she did it on the video, but it worked good for me. So now I'm just going to take this wire and do the same thing I did on the other end. I'm going to go through 3 times. And I'm going to try to scoot it up and keep my little circle looking like a little circle. And there's 2, and I need to do 1 more. Actually, no, that's it. I needed to do those. So now I'm going to take my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to pinch that over just a little bit, like that. And And this is what I have. So now I want to form my wire wrapped loops on either end, right? So we'll just start here at the end we're working on. What I'm going to do is get my tiny chain nose pliers. And I'm going to get my round nose pliers. I'm going to bend this wire as if I was going to make another wrap right across the top like that. Then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to get in there and bend that wire straight up. And don't worry about it if it's not perfectly straight. It's not really going to matter. Now, for my bracelet, I used this mark here that's closest to the tip of my round nose pliers. So what I want to do is take my chain nose pliers first. And I'm going to lay this bottom end right up against this wire. I'm going to take my thumb and I'm just going to push that tail part of the wire straight over the top of my pliers like that. And then I'm going to take them off. And see, I've created this little angle. So now I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. And I'm going to put the little bend in my wire right in the jaw of my pliers on that mark. Then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to roll my wire up over the top of my pliers and come across on my mark. And I'm going to go until I can't go any further. So there's my wire coming around on the pliers right here. So now I'm just going to open my pliers and rotate them a little bit so that the freer, clear at top of my pliers is now on the top. I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to push it on around till it comes off to the side, just like this. Then I can take my pliers out. And that's what I have. Now, for this part, I showed you guys this a little while ago about these, the tool magic. So I'm just going to take these flat nose pliers that I have coated with tool magic right here. And I'm just going to put my loop in the pliers. And I'm going to come right down to where those two wires cross over each other, just like that. And now I'm going to wrap. So my wire is crossed over from this side to that over this wire. So now I know I have to come around the back. And I'm going to overextend a little bit so that my wraps come up as close to that loop as I can get them. You know, keep going until I come down to this section here where my little wire wraps are. So that's good right there. So now you might want to know what I'm going to do with this wire. Well, I'm telling you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push it through my circle from front to back. Now I'm left-handed, so keep in mind that's why I'm going front to back. And now I'm going to form 3 wraps on this left-hand side of my loop. So there was one. We'll push it through there again. You can use your pliers if you want. So there's 2. Make sure you snug them all up together like that. And then I got to do one more. And for this part, I'm probably going to use my little pliers for the 3rd one. So I'm going to bring that back around. And now I'm going to squeeze my little wraps all together here. And there's what I have. So now I'm going to come to the back side of my little component here. I'm going to take the back side of my flush cutters. And I'm going to snip that last little tail of wire right off of there. Just like that. Now I've got glasses on, so you need to make sure that your little wires don't fly up and hit you in the eye. Then just take your little chain nose pliers and mash down your sharp tip there and squeeze your coils together. And there we have this one side done. Now, I close that off. And I can only do that on one side of this component because I can open this earring up and hook this part to my earring. Now when I get ready to do this side, I'm going to have to add my dangle in before I wrap that loop. So here's where we are. My wire is on the back side. So I'm going to bend it over as if I was going to make another wrap. I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers and make a little angle and tilt it straight up like that, or roughly straight up. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to center that wire in the middle of those coils. You don't have to do that. It's just something that I did yesterday, so I'm going to continue on. Then I'm going to bring my chain nose pliers in all the way down to this component. Take my thumb and push my wire over to the side. Come back in here and get my round nose pliers. Get on my mark. Right there where my little bend is. I'm going to push my wire over the top, following my mark on my pliers till I can't go any further. I'm going to rotate my pliers around and continue till my wire comes out to the side, just like that. Now, before I can wrap this end, I have to put my little dangle on. So go ahead and slide that on, because these are both wire wrapped. Now I'm going to get my pliers, and I'm going to get in here and pinch right above where those two wires cross. And this is a little tricky when you have your something on the other side, but you can do it. So now we just need to wrap this wire around and around a couple more times. And see, I've curved my wire up. I didn't mean to do that, but if I want to straighten it, I've got to undo it this way so I don't have a kink. And so I'm going to come one more time. So now, here's where I am. And my little loop is wire wrapped. So now I just need to come over the front with this little tail and poke it through and make my 3 wraps on this side of my wire wrapped loop. So there was 1. There's 2. And you'll have to hold on to your little wire wrapped loop up here. Don't pull so hard that you pull it down out of position. Now I got to do 1 more. And I'm going to grab my pliers for this one. And I'm going to pull it on through. I'm going to squeeze my little coils together. Flip it over. Take my flush cutters with the flush side towards my work here. And snip off my little tail. It's a little hard for me to see it in this light, but if you have to, just wiggle it over just a little bit until you can see it. Get in there and snip it. Take your chain nose pliers and flatten down your end. And see, I've got a little piece sticking off because I couldn't see very well. So I'm going to have to come back in here with my flush cutters and clean that up. I don't want that little sharp piece sticking off right there. And now I have created my little thing here. So now I'm going to straighten up my little loops just a little bit. And now it's ready to add to my earring. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'll show you one more time how to do that. How to make this little component. So I'm just going to open up the little loop on my earring wire. Add my little component. Close it up. And there's a gorgeous little earring. And now my little wire components match the one on my bracelet. So let's make one more. I've got my other piece of wire. I'm going to move all my tools out of my way. Temporarily. Except for my flush cutters, because I want to make sure I have a flush cut on the end of my wire. And here's my dowel. And once again, leave yourself, you know, a little, about 3 or 4 inches there for a tail. Hold the wire onto the dowel with your thumb. And just start wrapping your coils and scooting them over together like that. And just keep going. Until you have about 3 or 4 inches of wire on the opposite end of your coil. And that's pretty good. So I have about the same amount of wire on each side of my coil. So now I'm just going to slide it off and pinch it in, just like I did before. And like I said, you know, this is an organic look to this piece. If you want to be more precise, you could go right ahead and do that. So now I'm going to start with one side of my wires. So I need to flip this over. I'm going to start with this little piece of tail I had left. I've got my finger poking through my little rings here. And I'm holding them down with my thumb. I'm going to take that tail wire, poke through from front to back, and pull. Do that 2 more times. Cinch your coils up beside each other like that with your fingernails or whatever, pliers. I'm going to do 1 more. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight and push my coils together. And I'm going to take, leaving this on my finger is the easiest way I found to do this, and just roll this other wire to the opposite end. Just like that. And then take this piece of wire and repeat the steps. Poke it through and pull. And I might have made myself a little too short of a piece on this end. But we'll just problem solve that. I think the way I'm going to problem solve that is I'm only going to make 2 wraps on this end, because I really don't want to run out of wire. Alright, so let's go ahead and make our loops. We'll need our round nose again and our chain nose again. I'm going to start with the chain nose. I'm going to bring this wire over like I was going to make another wrap. Then I'm going to tilt that up with my pliers at an angle, so it's poking straight up, kind of centered over my little coils. And I'm going to pinch with my chain nose pliers right up against my work and push that wire off to the side. I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers, grab right there in the bend on my mark. I'm going to bring my wire over the top, as far as I can go. I'm going to shift my pliers around like that. And I'm going to come back around until my wire is poking off to the side. You can see that my center hoop is just a little bit off. I'm going to do it to fix that is I'm going to rock my pliers back this way and shift my wire back down to the side, just like that. And that's a little troubleshooter. I'm going to grab my little rubber-coated pliers. And I'm going to wrap down and around. And I got to try to leave myself enough to get back across this loop. So I'm going to come one more time. Or not the loop I meant, but back across my main section here. So now, if you can see what's going on, I need to actually come across like that. I'm going to hold my little thing in place. And I'm going to have to use my chain nose pliers because I left myself too short of a tail. So I'm going to come around like that, nice and tight. And then I'm going to try to come around again. You can see, guys, I really screwed up on this end. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to keep working with my pliers. And I'm going to take it and I was going to push that end in. Nice and snug. And then I'm going to cinch my coils up together. And that's pretty good. And like I said, this is an organic project, so I'm going to scoot my quills over just a little bit on this end. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to bend like I was going to make another wrap. I'm going to come in with my pliers and tilt myself straight up. Grab with my pliers and push down to the side. Over my pliers like that. I'm going to bring my round nose back in. Grab my wire right there at my ankle on my mark. Come over the top, staying on the mark. I'm going to shift my pliers around and come on across. We'll just correct my circle like that. I'm going to pick up these little rubber-tipped flat nose. And this time, see, I almost started to forget to put my dangle. I got to put my dangle. I do that a lot. That is probably the biggest mistake I make in this type of work, is forgetting to add my link or my dangles. Anyway, so here I am, and I've went as close as I can get. So now I'm going to take my wire, and I'm going to wrap around. Come around one more time, and then I'm going to finish up. Just like that. Now I got to straighten up my wire, but remember, I want to come in like this so I don't have a bunch of big kinks. And I got to come down across the front of my component and push my wire through the whole center. And then I'm going to pull, and I'm going to repeat. Whoops, I got into my little hole there for a second. Come back through. Remember, when you're wrapping these last wraps, to keep an eye on what your hoop is doing. You might have to straighten it up before you wrap it entirely too tightly. So I've got one more here. I'm going to grab with my pliers and bring it around. I'm going to squish my coils all together nice and neat. Like that. Then I'm going to come in and snip that tiny little bit off of tail that I had left on this side. I'm going to take my little chain nose pliers, mash that down, and tighten my coils on up together. And there's my second piece. And I just need to put them onto this earring. Open up to the side. Add your component, and then close to the side. And there we have an adorable set of earrings to match the bracelet. Oops, this won't come off. So there you know, I didn't get my loop closed. So let me fix that. Just give it a little squeeze here. Now, everything's closed up. And we can just go ahead and look at our adorable earrings. If you do not know how to do a wire wrapped loop really well, you can do a search for it here on YouTube and check out the tutorial on Bead Education's channel, or you can do what I'm doing, is head on over and start that free trial of Craftsy, because I'm going to be doing some projects off of there for my YouTube tutorials. So if you guys want to participate and keep up with me on that, head on over there and start your free trial at craftsy.com. But anyway, here's what my completed project looks like, and I am thrilled with it. I really like that. Alright guys, so that is it for one more quick and easy holiday gift project idea from the Alluring Bead Boutique. My name is Datrina. Check me out on all my social media. Subscribe to my channel. head on over to my website and make sure you're signed up for the Bead Mat newsletter and that you have your account created on the alluringbeadboutique.com so that you can take advantage of lots of free information, free PDFs and technique guides, and then also you'll get good discounts on my patterns and jewelry. All right, guys, have a great day, and thanks for watching.